I, 70 female, let my eldest son, 51, and his second wife, 41, move into my home after my son had to sell a small furniture store at a liquidation price because big box stores took away his business. They eventually had to file for bankruptcy and sell the home my son had bought while married to his first wife, who passed away. My new daughter-in-law wasn't employed when she met, dated, or married my son. She remained unemployed while they lost everything they had. I believe if the daughter-in-law had gotten a job, they could have avoided bankruptcy and kept their home. I know my son was distraught to lose the home he had shared with his first wife. I was under the impression the home was paid for, and at one point it was, but my son and new daughter-in-law had once taken out an equity loan in debt to help cover daily expenses and pay for my step-granddaughter's school trip. My new daughter-in-law has a teen daughter. I let the daughter move in as well. The kid seems lazy to me. She didn't do anything but go to school when it was in, and has been out on summer break for a month now. My son and his wife are working, and I still work part-time helping a family friend. I don't charge them rent, utilities, or food costs. I tell them to save their money. I paid off the remaining loan so my son's credit wouldn't tank. My son pays for their phones and phone plans and basic needs like hygiene items. I think my step-granddaughter needs to be taking over much of the housework since she's home all day. Last Tuesday, I told her the trash needed to be taken to the big cans and those pulled to the road for the next day pickup. Our trash pickup runs incredibly early, so I set them out the night before. I told her everything needed to be dusted, floors vacuumed, swept, and then mopped. I showed her where everything was and told her that there was laundry to do and some needed to be ironed. I told her to please wash, dry, and iron the sheets and tablecloths, as well as the sofa covers, and scrub down the bathrooms. I came home and nothing had been done. She had fixed food and not washed any dishes she'd used. No laundry was done, and the floors hadn't been touched. I asked her why, and she said she didn't feel like it. I told her, tough, you're staying here rent-free and will do as I ask, or you can get out. She ran to her mom, who said I was mean and that I was being racist because her granddaughter's biracial, and I was treating her like a maid. I told my daughter-in-law that there was no sense in the kid doing nothing all day and that she could at least clean her dishes. I told my daughter-in-law the same. My rules are get out. My son agreed with me. I told them my step-granddaughter could get a job if she didn't want to do the housework. My daughter-in-law is livid. I told her I'm not charging you rent. My daughter-in-law said I'm cruel to threaten a child with being homeless. And I told my daughter-in-law, her kid isn't my responsibility, and I'm doing her a favor by allowing her to live in my home. My son sided with me and said his stepdaughter was lazy and that there was nothing wrong with what I asked her to do. He told his step-granddaughter, do what my mom asks of you, or you can get out. Now he and his wife are at odds. This morning, my daughter-in-law asked if I was ready to apologize, and I said nope. But today, my step-granddaughter will have the other chores on top of more to complete, so she may not want to sleep until the afternoon. My daughter-in-law said the daughter had plans today, and I said too bad, either chores or get out. Now daughter-in-law saying that she's leaving with her kid unless I apologize. I told her to let me know so I could get my keys back. Am I the idiot for asking step-granddaughter to take over the housework? Wow. Tell us you don't like your daughter-in-law and her daughter without saying you don't like them. You want a teen to iron sheets and slipcovers? Really? When was the last time you did it? It sounds like you want your step-granddaughter to be the housekeeper to pay for her family's keep. Now, if you don't want them there, give them a time frame for moving out, but stop taking your anger out on this girl. And there is nothing wrong with her doing some chores, but good Lord, ironing sheets, really? I've known people who had money who did, in fact, have the maid iron their sheets. I don't know anyone like me who does it, but that task smells of old money. The golden child's son had failed business decisions and ended up living free in mommy's house, but the granddaughter is to blame clearly. I would love to know what her precious son does around the house, but he's never done a single chore. Don't forget, her son obviously can do no wrong, and he's always a victim of his circumstances. She sounds like a nightmare with a 51-year-old crybaby. You are the idiot, because your scapegoat for your resentment about your adult son's poor choices and money management is a child. At no point has one single school trip been the reason someone is bankrupt, but you seem happier to blame his wife and child and big box stores than the 51-year-old man you spawned. My 23 female family went out to dinner a few days ago to celebrate my sister, 26, Jen's birthday. When we got to the restaurant, Jen was already there alone. She said she told her boyfriend, Blake, that the time got pushed back 30 minutes because she needed to talk to us alone. Jen was mad at Blake for not getting her any birthday gifts and only took her out to dinner at a place they go to often. Our parents understood her being upset, and she asked if they would try talking to him because she couldn't get Blake to understand how hurtful that was. I asked her if she had given him her usual present for his birthday or last holiday, and Jen said that that wasn't important. For context, my sister's idea of a gift for her partner is lingerie and intimacy, and only that. I don't know about her past relationships, but I do know that in the 2 years that they've been together, I've heard and seen Blake give her gift ideas for him, and he winds up buying them for himself after the fact. He's come to Christmas at our house with gifts for Jen, and Jen always shows up empty-handed for him, saying she'd give him his present later. I told Jen it sounded like she got as good as she gave, whereas our parents said I should be concerned someone would be dismissive and vindictive toward my sister. Our parents said that they'd think about talking to him based on his behavior when he arrived. So I texted Blake that Jen was setting him up for a lecture. He wound up not showing up. Last night, Jen called me angry. She saw my text to him and realized my text was the reason he canceled and accused me of not having her back. She told our parents that I butt into their relationship. Still, I figured she was trying to get us involved in a relationship anyway. I could have stayed quiet, but at the time it didn't sit right with me what she was trying to do. Am I the idiot? Kinda sounds like the boyfriend is just matching your sister's energy. LOL, not the idiot. Your sister sounds like a child asking mommy and daddy to fight her battles and setting her boyfriend up for a lecture by her parents, which is hugely uncalled for. What is she, 12? You probably shouldn't have stepped into it at all. Now you're getting yelled at for interfering. Sometimes it's best to sit back and watch. Let's hope the boyfriend can finally see the red flags flying. Agreed, with one small caveat. The sister's trying to prevent a situation that could have escalated into a public fight in a restaurant. Regardless of who's right here, I'd feel immensely uncomfortable if I saw that train wreck coming. Very true, and to your point, a public fight may be needed for boyfriend to see exactly what kind of person he's dating. The problem I see is OP is getting heat for stepping in. OP's intentions were pure, but negative consequences ensued for OP. Even though the sister made her issues the family's problem, OP's now taking all the heat for interfering. Keeping out of it would have kept OP entirely blameless. We all know who's the golden child. However, OP missed out on dinner and a show. Mini update. Thank you everyone for the response. I wouldn't say my sister's the golden child since we were treated equally growing up. More that our parents are family first no matter what. This is not the first time she's tried getting others to fight her battles. It's just the first time she's done it in public and with our parents. I don't know if our parents know her gift-giving pattern, but it's easy to figure out based on her comments, which are the same as every boyfriend she's had since high school. And no, I do not have feelings for Blake. I have a boyfriend of my own who I love very much. They're broken up, and as some of you guessed, Jen is blaming me. But honestly, I wasn't expecting to come through unscathed after I warned him. I got the news from our mother who called earlier to hark at me for not backing my sister up against a man who disregarded her wishes on an important day and bailed. I told Mom there are times you absolutely do have family's back, but when your daughter only ever forwards nature's gift card to her partners on gift-giving occasions, knowing they've asked for something else, and then involves the entire family for getting her process turned around on her, isn't it? Instead of agreeing to a public intervention, she should have told Jen to leave us out of it and keep it between them. Maybe shut down Jen's all men need is intimacy to be happy rhetoric years ago, and maybe she'd have a son-in-law by now. So that's all that. Thanks again. I, 44 female, have 3 kids: James, male teen; Leanna, female teen; and Sarah, female teen. James is 5'9" and about 160 pounds, which is perfectly healthy. Leanna's 5'5" and 149 pounds, which seems pretty normal, and I'm not concerned because she and James are both very active. However, Sarah's only 5'2" and weighs about 155, and she refuses to participate in sports and such because it makes her feel self-conscious. To try and counter this, I've taken to making much healthier, lighter meals, taking away soda and unhealthy snacks like potato chips and snack cakes, and taking family walks after dinner. One incident was, this week, Leanna had 6.5 hours of dance practice a day. It's a special prep camp, and became upset because I packed her lunch instead of allowing her to go out and eat during her lunch break. I packed her a salad and a few turkey wraps most days, along with a few sides like hard-boiled eggs. I gave her enough food to have energy during practice, but she became mad because the dance team at her school has a habit of all going out to eat in small groups, sometimes as one big group, and basically carb loading and eating all the junk food they want during intensive weeks and days like these, because all the calories will burn off anyways. My husband, 44, took her side. My husband says it's unfair to be so strict with James and Leanna, who are much more active than Sarah. He told me that I shouldn't be expecting my more active children to eat the same diet as Sarah, and that I was setting unfair expectations among my eldest 2 children. In addition, he told me that I shouldn't be completely banning sweets from the house because James and Leanna know how to eat them in moderation. My husband told me that I was going to make James and Leanna resent me for this, and I rebutted by saying that it was unfair for us to expect our obese child to diet by herself, and this argument continued. Am I the idiot for forcing my whole family to eat healthy? You are the idiot. Your kids are different people, and they need much different things. If one daughter's doing 6.5 hours of intense workout, she will need much more calories than someone who isn't. As a recent teenage girl, fitting in with the group is so much more important than you realize. Also, lunch is very likely their only social time, so if her friends are going out and she isn't getting that connection either. I packed her a salad, a few turkey wraps most days, and a few sides like hard-boiled eggs. Eating a salad and hard-boiled eggs and then doing intense exercise would make me throw up. She needs carbs. Also, if she's dancing for 6.5 hours, what you're giving her isn't nearly enough. You shouldn't force your older 2 kids to diet when they don't need to. Your husband's right here, and you need to listen up. I'm extremely concerned about the protein focus in the food she describes and the attitude towards carbs. Carbs are not the enemy of a healthy diet. I battled an ED for more than 20 years because of the narratives around food created by my mother. Don't even get me started on the obnoxious family walks that mysteriously appeared anytime I gained 2 pounds. Seriously. Also, even according to BMI, this tween isn't obese. She's just overweight. It's unfair for us to expect our obese child to diet by herself. I hope you aren't saying that in earshot of your youngest child, because it isn't healthy either. I understand you want to do the right thing, but you're going the wrong way. Get some advice from a dietitian so you can guide her in eating without making her feel bad or punishing your entire family. My brother Nikki, 25, is married to Liza, 24, female. They were at my parents' house on Sunday for dinner, and Liza really annoyed the crap out of me, something that isn't new, and I said something in anger, and I might be the idiot for it, maybe. So, Liza has a wealthy family. They paid for her and her siblings' college expenses 100%. They paid for Nikki and Liza's house. They paid for their wedding. They're paying for 1 year of their son's wedding this summer. They can afford all that. Liza's always been very open about it if you're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She never hid the fact that she came from money and was never shy about saying her parents paid so much for her and her siblings. Liza doesn't understand that we're not all that lucky. I'm 19, female, and I work full-time. I still live with my parents. We couldn't afford college. I didn't get the grades for a scholarship. Struggled enough through school and getting into massive debt for college when I could end up flunking seemed like a bad move for me. So I focused on working, and I applied for a couple of training programs close to my parents' house so I could try and do better without risking debt for nothing. Liza looks down on me so hard for living with my parents and for not going to college. On Sunday, she talked about how all her siblings attended college, how 3 of them are still in college, living there and doing just fine, how they'll be able to buy houses right out of college, and how even she and my brother could do it. My parents said politely that not everyone can do all that, but then she talked about being 19 and not in college or living alone, and how I should try so much harder. I snapped at that moment and told her, we can't all have rich parents who can afford to pay our way through college, for our weddings, and for our houses. I told her my parents didn't have that kind of money, and neither did I, so we were doing our best in this darn economy. Liza told me I was just lazy and making excuses, and then stormed out. Mickey left a while later, and he was pretty quiet. Liza used his phone to send me 30 texts 3 days later, demanding I apologize, and tearing me a new one for not doing it without being told, and I know it was her, because she texted in a very specific way. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. In fact, she's the one who owes you an apology for how she treats you. Unfortunately, many people take their fortune for granted. Kudos to you for realizing that college may not be for you at this time or ever, and for trying to figure out your path. Here's the apology I would send. I am sorry. I'm sorry that you've been handed so much for free that you have no understanding for how the majority of the people in this world have to work to get by. I hope you do your best to rectify this. Your brother did not stand up for you. He will regret marrying that woman, or he'll regret it unless he becomes like her. Free house, free college for kids, and other perks. Brother's gonna side with sugar mama every time. The thing is, it's not her fortune. She didn't do a darn thing to earn it, and yet she acts like she worked so hard for it to just be handed to her. That's a big thing wrong here in my opinion. I don't think she's acting. She believes that she earned it all on her own. There are so many deluded rich people like this, and no amount of reasoning will burst their little egocentric bubble. Ever read the 3-generation wealth rule? Here's a good write-up on it. The first generation does all the work to create it. The second generation maintains it, but the third generation ends up blowing through it and squandering it. Anyway, Lizzie sure sounds like the third generation in this story. No appreciation for the work that went into generating the wealth. They're just happy to spend it and look down on the commoners for not having it.